A pool stick in a church playroom randomly snaps in half without anyone near it, and the church is already known for decades of paranormal stories. A hospital security guard watches a wheelchair turn itself around in the middle of an empty room, and in Pakistan a motorcycle appears to roll and tip over by itself. This is disturbing surveillance footage experts can't debunk. What in the world is going on with this pool stick? This one comes from Reddit user Pumpkin Man, who shared the footage along with the caption, "I have a video of surveillance camera footage capturing a pool stick inexplicably snap itself in half on the leg of a pool table. This happened in a children's playroom at a small rural church. There have been dozens of other incidents of paranormal activity at this church, spanning multiple decades. The people, who I know personally, that took this video and work at this church fully believe the place is haunted by a child ghost." Now, I gotta say, I've seen some paranormal videos on this channel before. This one's up there for me. This is pretty weird. The way that thing's moving sounds like they believe what they're seeing. This next video comes from a hospital. A security guard was doing his rounds when he came across this wheelchair in the middle of the room. So he stands there, scratching his head, probably wondering what it's doing sitting there, but then it starts to move. At first he doesn't notice it, but when he turns back to look at the chair, it's of course now facing in the total opposite direction, so all he can do is stand there stunned, likely too petrified to move. It's bad enough worrying about your bike getting stolen as it is without ghosts getting involved. This security footage was captured in Pakistan back in 2020. So what in the world? Now, there doesn't seem to be any strong winds blowing. Of course, there's nobody nearby either. Nothing that would cause the bike to roll on its own like that and then fall to the ground. So what happened? Was a ghost trying to steal someone's bike, then realized that they had no clue how to ride and just ditched it? Probably. But what do you all think? Thoughts in the comments, please. This one comes from Reddit user Signal Pollution 4881, who says he used to work at a haunted movie theater. He shared this security footage of something seeming to move past the camera. Take a look at this. Now, this footage on its own, I mean, it's weird, but it's not that crazy, right? Well, the backstory, there's a lot going on. So he and his brother worked the night shift cleaning the theater, and from their first shift, something felt off. During that first night, the uploader heard a baby crying in an empty auditorium, even though the building had been closed for hours. He searched the entire place, but it was empty. And over the next several months, they experienced odd things, doors opening and closing on their own, unexplained footsteps in the upstairs projector room. Eventually, even his brother, who'd been skeptical at first, became convinced that something was definitely wrong. About 6 or 7 months in, the uploader was alone upstairs when he saw a black figure about 20 feet away. It seemed to have no face. It was just this eerie, shadowy mass. Terrified, he ran off without even saying a word to his brother. From then on, he constantly felt like he was being watched through the projection windows. About a year later, his brother saw a thick black smoke cloud form out of nowhere in the bathroom before vanishing. Shaken, they finally started talking about their experiences. They kept working there though, because the pay was decent and the shifts were short. The activity mostly quieted down, just the occasional mysterious footstep. Sometimes they'd see things moving and would hear disembodied voices. This video came later after they'd already quit. It was sent to him by a former coworker around Halloween and seems to show the same black figure he once saw in the projection booth. These creepy images were shared to X by Scared for Life 2, who wrote that their friend works at Central Library in Manchester. In October of 2019, the uploader popped in for a visit, and the friends shared these images. They came from the security camera in the basement corridors. Now, I don't know about this place having any history of paranormal activity, but it was built in 1934, not super old, especially by England standards, but it is enough time to have racked up some history. And if anyone had died in the building, or was just someone who had a fondness for the place, maybe they never left. Remember the Myrtles Plantation? I've talked about it on the channel a number of times. It's said to be one of the most haunted places in the United States. Well, now we have some footage. This security camera happened to pick up something incredibly startling during a tour, right in the middle of the day. So the group is standing in the foyer. They're slowly making their way deeper into the home, very slowly, as this is not a group of spring chickens. And then suddenly, this happens. So a series of super loud bangs on the wall are heard, the mirror shakes violently, and then a sculpture falls down. Now, could this have been staged? There's always the possibility, but I hope that's not the case, because if it was, that was pretty messed up. You really shouldn't be playing pranks on old folks like this, especially with loud bangs. So this eerie piece of footage comes from a government office in Mexico City. According to the staff, especially the security guards, strange things were happening there all the time. They said they were constantly getting spooked, but the most disturbing part was that several of them claimed to see some kind of monk-like figure that would appear and harass them. People would also report hearing cries and screams in the early hours of the morning. Then one night, a security camera finally captured this, which looked exactly like the creepy figure that had been terrifying them night after night. Imagine you're alone at home in the middle of the night, cleaning up around the house, when suddenly something cuts through the silence. It's a whisper, and not only is it a whisper, but it's your name. This is what happened to Reddit user IggyTalls_15, who said, "I heard someone very distinctly whisper Mike from behind me. I thought one of my kids had walked downstairs, but when I saw there was no one, I bolted. It was just me and the dogs/cat around 12 a.m. This is also an old home from the 1850s, and a crew member who died in the Halifax explosion lived here in the early 1900s. Take a listen to this and a watch. Security footage from Wellington Indoor Market in Telford, England caught something that left workers a bit rattled the next day. When traders showed up one morning, they found a bunch of boxes scattered across the floor and stairs. At first they thought someone had broken in, of course, but when they checked the CCTV, what they saw was something else entirely. A dark, shadowy figure walking up the stairs and then knocking over the boxes. Now, it's not very easy to make out the figure walking up the stairs, but if you look closely enough, you can see some sort of shadowy shape appear. The boxes falling are clearly visible though. Market manager Kay Bokai said, "We came into the market in the morning and the boxes were all over the place. On the floor, over the stairs. We thought we'd had an intruder, so we obviously went straight to the CCTV. We couldn't believe what we saw. All the hairs stood up on the back of my neck. There was nobody there when the boxes fell off. We watched it again and we could see the shadow walking up the stairs, then chucking the boxes over." End quote. Now, this market isn't new to strange activity. It's been around since 1244. According to Kay, sometimes there are strange things that go on when people are alone. Some people say they have seen a shadow go past them. She also mentioned an incident where, quote, "2 people were alone in the market. They were talking when they heard coughing coming from the other side of the building. When they looked around, it was totally empty." Other weird moments include doors slamming and hand dryers turning on by themselves. Who is this staring at the security camera after hours? So a security guard monitoring a CCTV system got an alert that someone was on the property after hours, well past closing time when no one should have been there, other than him, of course. When he checked the footage, what the camera caught was unsettling, to say the least. There's this small, ghostly figure with glowing eyes standing in the distance. Some have said it looks like a little boy, standing there, staring right at the camera. The clip has since been linked to the legend of the Pocong, a ghost from Indonesian and Malaysian folklore. According to the belief, a Pocong is the spirit of a dead person who's still wrapped in their burial shroud. In some versions of the legend, the soul remains trapped if the ties around the shroud aren't removed after 40 days. And the spirit is forced to wander, often appearing as this pale figure with bound limbs and a haunting stare. Well, with all that said, I've been your host, James. I'll catch you, yes, you specifically, in the next video.